everybody. This is morning coffee.
It's time to pour it, stir it up, and serve it up. This is the Morning Coffee Podcast Show, your unofficial wake-up call. Here to help you live your best life and revolutionize your relationships, faith, inspiration, and love. Start your day the right way with Morning Coffee. Here's your host, Tanisha R. Atkins.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Morning Coffee Live Show. I am the host, Tanisha R. Atkins, back with another great episode this morning, all to help you to start your day the right way. And as usual, you know that Morning Coffee is your unofficial wake-up call on a mission to provoke you to change and spiritual growth so that you can live your best life and revolutionize your relationships. So if this is your first time, I want to welcome you here to Morning Coffee. I want to encourage you to stick throughout the whole episode. I guarantee you, you're going to hear something that's going to bless your life on this day. I don't take it lightly, and you shouldn't take it lightly that God led you over here to this podcast. If you're listening to this, then you need this, because that's what I pray. Let those that need this find their way over to Morning Coffee. And I also want to encourage you to go ahead and share this message with someone. Even after you listen, if you enjoy the message and you get your takeaway, share with somebody so they can get their takeaways as well. Well, you know, we are right in the middle of season 3, where our theme is taking your life off of the repeat cycle. So that's what we've been talking about all season long. And this week we're talking about transparency and being transparent and dealing with our issues so that we can live our best life. It's hard to live your best life when you have things in life that are weighing you down. Like, you can't live your best life that way. And so this week we have been being very transparent and just talking about uncovering the issues that we're dealing with. And so we're going to keep right on in that today. Today I want to talk to you about what happens when you don't deal with the issues. I want to tell you how those things are affecting your relationships, right? Our aim here is to help you to revolutionize your relationships. So we're going to talk about that today. What happens when you don't deal with your issues, right? So I've been sharing with you all week that there was a health situation that I had been dealing with for a while, probably since I was a child. And it's just something that I'm continuing to work through. And you know, sometimes some days are better than other days, but I share with you how sometimes you know, my family just try to help me through certain situations, and I'm being very transparent. I'm saying that all week long because I don't want you to think that I'm perfect because I host this amazing podcast. This is just something. This is the assignment that God has me on right now. And we all have our assignment, just like we all have our issues. So I'm taking this week to be very transparent with you because I want to help you. Okay? So I mentioned to you before, you know, and so for a while, with dealing with the issues, sometimes I don't fully deal with them like I need to. And I do what I had been doing, which I'm no longer doing anymore. But what I had been doing is avoiding dealing with those situations. Like, the issue is there, but I would do everything I can to avoid having to deal with it. And so I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that it has cost me some friendships. It has cost me some relationships, and, you know, it hurt me the worst because you think that your friends and your family are going to really stick by your side close or get closer to you when you're going through something. And sometimes that's just not the case. And even then, you know, I think it was a wake-up call for me even then to stop and deal with the issue. And I dealt with it as much as I could, but I can't say that I had fully 1000% did every little thing that I could to deal with it. I feel like I got to a certain point, it was like, look, I'm tired. You know, so I'm not mad at those friends or anything. I get it. At the time I didn't understand, me. I'm like, the Bible says, that a friend sticks closer than a brother. And I felt like, how can you bail on me at a time when I'm at my lowest? But needless to say, those type of things grew me up, and it did make me get closer to God. But I want to say this to us today. For those of you, now I told you my situation was sort of like a health situation. But for those of you that are dealing with things like anger, maybe your issue is rejection. Maybe you were molested as a child. Maybe you were abused as a child. Maybe you saw your parents mishandle money. Maybe you saw your parents fight all the time. Maybe it affected you. Like, whatever your situation is, I want to encourage you today to really dig deep. To really, really seek God. First of all, if you don't know, why you're angry all the time, or why you're outbursting, or whatever that situation is, I want to encourage you to really spend some time in prayer with your journal and your pen in your hand, because the healing starts there. We have to go to the source. God is the source. So a lot of times we won't answer. He may tell you, because the thing is, a lot of people will say, well, just go see a therapist. Sometimes a therapist, I love therapists, by the way, but sometimes that may not be your route. And we have to stop looking at other people's lives and trying to do what they did because that's what worked for them. And there's nothing wrong with therapy, so please don't misunderstand me. But I'm saying sometimes before you go to a therapist, sometimes, like if you have an emotional, unstable emotions, yours probably can be fixed with you changing your diet or cutting out certain things out of your diet. But sometimes you'll go to a therapist, and then in some instances, they may prescribe you medication when the issue really was you were eating the wrong things for your body, So that's what I mean. I don't mean don't see a therapist. I'm saying to see God first and let Him point you in the direction that you need to go, because you could have possibly saved yourself thousands of dollars had you just kind of started there. So that's what I mean by that. But I just want to, encourage you, if you know that your anger has been spiraling out of control, if you know that your attitude has been spiraling out of control because of something that you dealt with, if you know that can we keep it real, that you've been sleeping around with multiple partners because you haven't dealt with the molestation from your childhood, if you know that in any of those areas, or even more, if you know that you're taking all your bill money and going shopping because nobody never showed you how to balance a checkbook or anything, or maybe this is what you got accustomed to. You grew up and y'all were always getting evicted from house to house. People have issues, is what I'm saying. And if we keep putting a Band-Aid on those issues by drinking too much, eating too much, smoking, engaging in sexual activity, anything that you can do, shopping, being over consuming social media. See, a lot of times we use those things to cover up the issue. So then we become therapists for other people's life because we don't want to deal with our own issues. And it's hurtful, it's not fair. Yesterday I talked to the loved ones of people that go through something. Well, today I'm talking to the people that's going through something. That is hard on your loved ones to keep sitting there trying to help you, and you just refuse to try to even change at all. Like, your MO is, I'm gonna fall, they're gonna pick me up. I'm gonna fall, they're gonna pick me up. That's the cycle of your life. And so if we're talking about taking our life off of the repeat cycle, we have to first of all identify what cycle we're in. So that's your cycle. Your cycle is, I'm going to fall, somebody's going to bail me out. I'm going to fall. So when are you going to rescue yourself? And that's what I'm going to call this message today. Rescue yourself. Get the help that you need. Talk to somebody. Pray. Go to the doctor. Do what you have to do, because if you are letting your situations, what happens to you when you don't deal with the situations, you become toxic sometimes. Imagine a person growing up and their parents abused them all the time, and so now they're just full of anger and rage. Well, that's going to spill over. They're going to take it out on their children, their spouse, their job, their bosses, people at the grocery store, people at the church, people on the job. You're toxic. And you have to get rid of that toxicness by finding out what is going on. And then you have to kind of, just like if you had a cooler and you want to let all the water out, that's how you have to do. You have to let it out. And for you, let it out may be to sit down and talk to a therapist or whatever. But I'm saying, pretending like the issue is not there, and then everybody's telling you have an anger issue, and you don't identify, you just keep lying to yourself. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. And we have to remember, let's take it back to the word. This is a Christian-based podcast, okay? Take it back to the word. What does the Bible say? That the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So remember that the issues were there. The issues were created as an assistance to kill, steal, and destroy. So we have to, God said, I came that you might have life and that you may have it more abundantly. So if you want to live the abundant life, we have to get out of that cycle of what's trying to destroy us so that we can live our best life. I'm telling you, it's hard to live your best. Like they say, it's hard out here in these streets. It's hard to live your best life like that. You want to know why you're sad all the time. You want to know, why you can't have joy. Why you crying? Why you so emotional? There's something there. Why you eat so much? Why you drink so much? Why you sleep around? There's something there that you're covering up. And like I was telling you earlier in the week, like for me, whenever I would eat clean, I would do really good. And then it was like I still wanted the comfort food because it was still something there that I hadn't dealt with. And I'm telling you, once you kind of identify those things and start asking God, what is your plan? And, again, we're being transparent. And one of the things, I prayed too. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I really need you to help me here. And, one of the things he said was, you really need to be on a consistent workout schedule. You really need to. And like that, you really need to be eating better and taking care of myself. That's what I heard him say. I need to have better self-care. And I could have went to a therapist and I could have spent a lot of money, and I really probably should have went to one anyway. So that it's okay that even if the therapist would have told me that, because she or he wouldn't have been lying. So the moral of the story is we have to deal with our issues and don't put that responsibility on our family and our friends. Like, it's our responsibility. We need to rescue ourselves and do what we have to do. Okay? So I want to let you sit with that this morning. I'm just this is a transparent week of transparency. I want to help you to live your best life. I want to live my best life, and I believe that I can do that. I believe that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, and you can too. We don't have to live life like that. We really don't. So I'm going to let you go. I haven't been praying with you every morning because on Friday's show, we're going to spend some time praying about these things. Okay, so I want y'all to enjoy your day. Think about this podcast. Think about what I'm saying. Think about, create you a plan of how you're going to identify your issues and get your notepad, get your pen, go sit down before God and say, okay, God, fix me. What can I do? Where do I start? And I guarantee you he will help you. Well, that's going to be it for today's show. Connect with me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Morning Coffee Live Show. Let me know what you thought about today's show. And again, I'm Tanisha R. Atkins. And until next time, see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast but didn't know where to start? Well, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor is your one-stop shop for podcasting. They have tools that you can edit, add music, all right from your phone or your computer. They'll even distribute your podcast so that it can be heard everywhere like Spotify, Apple, and even on Google. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.